Hi everyone, welcome to my channel Bibbity Bobbity Books. My name is Ellie and this is going to be the Cozy Autumn book tag. So we are now well into October, which is my favourite month of the year, and I thought it'd be really fun to just do a tag video. I haven't done one of these videos in a while, and the Cozy Autumn book tag video sounded like the absolute perfect one to choose. And yeah, just to feel autumnal and cozy. So I hope you enjoy this video. If you want to play along with me, I'd love to hear what your answers would be. Please do drop them down in the comment section below. But without further ado, let's just hop straight in with the first question. So it says, what book always reminds you of fall or autumn? Okay, so for this question, I'm going to choose The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. This, to me, is the absolute embodiment of autumn. It is just the most atmospheric, whimsical tale, and I remember I read this for the first time during autumn, and it was the perfect way to get me into the autumn mood because it is just so beautifully written, and the descriptions in here just absolutely transport you and make you feel immersed in autumn. And yeah, this is such a beautiful one. I highly recommend this to you if you enjoy whimsy and whimsical writing. It's a standalone fantasy, and it basically is all about this circus that appears unannounced, and it's only ever open in the night time, and no one ever knows when it's going to arrive or when it's going to disappear again. And the circus is essentially the stage for this competition that's going on between these two magicians who are each trying to outdo themselves. And there's more to it than that, but I feel like that's all you need to know going in, because this is very, very fun to kind of experience for yourself. But it's definitely one of those books that is more about the vibes and about the experience and the atmosphere than it is the plot, or at least it was for me. And yeah, it's just so transporting. There are sections of this story that are written in second person, so it's literally like you are experiencing the circus for yourself, which is just so wonderful. And I think what I'm going to do is just read you a little bit from the very first couple of pages, just so that you get an idea of the writing and what I mean when I say that it transports you and makes you feel autumnal. Don't worry, I'm not going to be giving any spoilers. I'm literally just going to read a couple of paragraphs from like the very first couple of pages when the author is describing the circus for the first time. So it says, "The circus looks abandoned and empty, but you think perhaps you can smell caramel wafting through the evening breeze beneath the crisp scent of autumn leaves, a subtle sweetness at the edges of the cold. The sun disappears completely beyond the horizon, and the remaining luminosity shifts from dusk to twilight. The people around you are growing restless from waiting, a sea of shuffling feet murmuring about abandoning the endeavour in search of someplace warmer to pass the evening. You yourself are debating departing when it happens. First there is a popping sound. It is barely audible over the wind and conversation, a soft noise like a kettle about to boil for tea. Then comes the light. All over the tents, small lights begin to flicker as though the entirety of the circus is covered in particularly bright fireflies. The waiting crowd quiets as it watches this display of illumination. Someone near you gasps, a small child claps his hands with glee at the sight." How atmospheric is that? I just absolutely felt like I could practically taste the caramel apples when I was reading this book, and could smell the candy floss and the popcorn in the air and feel the heat of the bonfires. And so yeah, I absolutely had to choose this one for the first prompt, and would highly recommend that you try this one if you haven't picked it up already. Okay, so the next question says, what is your favourite autumnal book cover? So for this prompt, I am going to choose a book that I haven't read yet, but one that is on my TBR, and that is Wildwood Dancing by Juliette Marillier. Juliette Marillier is an author that I have read from before, and I really, really enjoy her writing. She does lots of very whimsical, very atmospheric fairy tale retellings, and I just really, really love the cover of this one. It just, to me, embodies autumn. I feel like the figure on the front is almost like kind of an autumnal fairy, and there's lots of magic and wonder going on in the artwork for this one. And I think this one sounds really fun. It's actually one of Juliette Marillier's only YA novels, I believe, so it's aimed at a slightly younger audience to some of the books of hers that I've read already, but it is a retelling, I believe, of various different fairy tales. So I believe that it is a retelling of the 12 Dancing Princesses with a little Transylvanian vampire lore thrown into the mix, according to Google. So yeah, that sounds absolutely great. It says that there are 5 loving sisters. I really enjoy how a lot of Juliette Marillier's writing includes sibling relationships. I feel like she writes those really, really well. And I don't know, there's just something so enchanting about the cover of this one, and I just really, really want to lose myself into another one of her books. And I believe this one is also a standalone as well, which is great because she has quite a lot of larger series that can be quite intimidating. So I feel like this might be a fun one just to dip my toes into when I'm fancying a bit of her whimsical writing. Okay, so the next question is, what is your favourite autumnal drink to read with? So, I mean, for me, I just enjoy a classic standard cup of tea, just English breakfast tea. That's absolutely my go-to. I basically live off tea. But I do also enjoy something a little bit different during the autumnal season if I'm fancying something a little bit more spicy. Then I have been really, really enjoying this type of tea, which is vanilla chai by the brand Bucker, and it is with cinnamon, ginger and vanilla. This honestly is so delicious, and I like to have it with a little bit of honey in just because I like things sweet. And yeah, it's just so comforting. I think it's the cinnamon in it that just, it just feels so autumnal to me and so cozy. So I do really enjoy cuddling up with a cup of this tea in the evenings when I read some of my autumnal books. Next up, it says, do you prefer to read late at night or early in the morning? I feel like I've already kind of answered this one, but I prefer to read in the evenings before bed. I am not a morning person, and my work hours are 8 till 6 usually every day. So I have to get up quite early anyway for work, and I just wouldn't have time to fit in any reading in the mornings. I feel like, you know, I'm busy trying to get ready for the day and to actually get to work on time. So yeah, I'm very much an evening reader, and I just find it so cozy to snuggle up under the bed covers with a nice cozy hot drink and to just get lost in a book. So yeah, definitely in the evening. The next question is, Halloween is coming. What is your favourite spooky read? Gosh, now there is a question. I don't feel like I could pick an all-time favourite because, I don't know, it depends on my mood, and I've read lots of great spooky books. I couldn't possibly choose an absolute favourite, but I will mention one that I've read quite recently and really enjoyed just because it's on the top of my mind right now, and that is The Ha, written by David Sodergren. So this is a great book. This is a horror. I would say it's a monster horror. It's very, very gory. So not for you if you don't like things that are blood-soaked and gruesome, because this has a lot of that in there. But this is so fun. It is a story about this woman. She's an elderly woman in her 80s, and she lives in this fishing village in Scotland, and basically she is being threatened by this billionaire who wants to evict her because he is planning to buy up the land where she lives to build a golf complex and resort, and she understandably doesn't want to leave her home. She's lived there for her whole entire life. She has lots of memories there. You know, she recently lost her husband, and so she's got lots of memories of, you know, living with her husband there. And yeah, the way that she is treated in this book by some of the people is just absolutely horrendous, and you really, really feel sorry for her as a character about what's happening to her. The whole situation is just very, very tragic. And this deals with a lot of themes of grief. Obviously our main character lost her husband and she's dealing with that, but also grief about how her village where she's always lived is changing, and, you know, having to see her neighbours leaving, and it's all just a very difficult situation for our main character to be in. And then we kind of see things change. So there's this mist called the Ha that comes off the sea, and with it comes some strange things. I really don't want to give too much away because it's not too long, but essentially our main character ends up getting involved in some things, and she's kind of driven a little bit by revenge, and yeah, That's all I'm gonna say. Our main character is so fascinating, so multi-dimensional. We definitely see her struggling with her grief and perhaps blinded by it at times, and that definitely affects her decisions going forwards. And it's also quite heartwarming. Like, I was surprised by how moved I was at the ending of this book, despite all of its gore and blood and guts and all of that stuff that's in here. It still has quite a sentimental tone to it as well, which is something that I really wasn't expecting going into this one. So yes, if you like a gory horror monster horror story then I would recommend this one. And yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. So yeah, that's gonna be my answer for that question. Next up, it says, what is the ultimate comfort read for you? Again, this is quite a difficult one to choose. I have a lot of books that I find really comforting, but I think I'm going to choose a manga for this question because I've not mentioned any manga so far, and I think I'm going to choose The Girl from the Other Side. This is such a sweet manga, and it's perfect for this time of year because it has a little bit of a spooky twist to it. So essentially it's set in a world that is divided into two sections. There's I think it's called the inside, which is where humans live and exist, and then you have the outside or the other side. I can't remember exactly the terminology that's used, but it's essentially a place where the monsters live. And we follow a young girl who somehow ends up on the outside, and she's a human girl, and she befriends one of these monsters who actually takes it upon themselves to protect her. So it has that trope of this evil, scary monster protecting this young girl, and it's a really beautiful story about their kind of relationship, and it's just incredibly wholesome. There are some really sweet moments in there, and I just really enjoy kind of the innocence of childhood and how, you know, our main character of the little girl doesn't really see the monster as scary, and it's just so endearing. So yeah, I really enjoy that one and would recommend that one to you if you haven't tried it already. Okay, so the next question is, what is your favourite autumnal reading snack? So for me, that would have to be hot buttered popcorn. There is nothing better than snuggling up under a blanket to watch a scary movie and just having a big bowl of hot popcorn with melted butter on the top. Oh my goodness, it's so delicious. But if I'm wanting something sweet, I also really enjoy baked apples. I really like baking apples with, you know, raisins in the middle with brown sugar and honey and cinnamon, and it just makes for the most autumnal spicy sweet treat. And yeah, I just love that. It's so simple to do as well, such an easy dessert to make and just so comforting and warm. So yeah, I think that would be my answer for this question. The next question is, what is your favourite autumnal candle to burn whilst reading? So I got a new candle fairly recently. Hang on, let me just try and find it. Okay, here it is. So I got this from TK Maxx recently, and at first I was drawn in by the little image on the top here because it's so cute and it just reminds me of my cats, Casper and Hades. If you don't know, I have a black and a white cat called Casper and Hades, and that just really reminded me of them on there with their little pumpkin outfits on. And then I smelt it, and my goodness, this is the most delicious smelling candle. Oh, it's spiced pumpkin, and honestly, I just wish that you could smell this because it's so delicious. It's like sweet and spicy, and the projection of this candle is amazing. It really fills the room up with the scent. So yeah, this would be my favourite candle at the moment to burn whilst I'm reading, and I'm kind of sad for when it runs out because it's that good. Okay, so the next question says, when you're not reading, what is your favourite autumnal activity? So for me, that would definitely be pumpkin picking. I love going to a pumpkin patch to just, you know, be outside in the fresh air and to walk around and to choose your own pumpkins to carve. I don't know, it's just such a fun activity, and there's quite a lot of places near me where you can go, and you can also get like a hot drink when you're there and make it into like a whole fun activity. And yeah, I just absolutely love doing that. I find it so much more special to go to a pumpkin farm and to actually choose your pumpkin from the pumpkin patch rather than just going and buying one from a supermarket or something. Okay, and the final question is, what is on your autumn/fall reading list? So I feel like I'm doing quite well with my autumnal reading TBR at the moment. I've managed to tick off quite a few of them already, but the ones that I have left, let me just grab a little stack for you. Okay, so these are my kind of top priority to read, hopefully by the end of this month. So the one that I'm going to be picking up next is A Head Full of Ghosts by Paul Tremblay. This is a horror book. It says on the back that we are following a family who are torn apart when 14-year-old Marjorie begins to display signs of acute schizophrenia. To her parents' despair, the doctors are unable to halt Marjorie's descent into madness. As their stable home devolves into a house of horrors, they reluctantly turn to a local Catholic priest to help and soon find themselves the unwitting stars of The Possession, a hit reality TV show. That sounds absolutely fantastic and I'm so excited to get into that one. I also really want to read this. This is The Library at Mount Char by Scott Hawkins. This one says on the back, Carolyn's not so different from the other people around her. She likes guacamole and cigarettes and steak. She knows how to use a phone. Clothes are a bit tricky, but everyone says nice things about her outfit with the Christmas sweater over the gold bicycle shorts. After all, she was a normal American herself once. That was a long time ago, of course, before she and the others were taken in by a man they call father. In the years since then, Caroline hasn't had a chance to get out much. Instead, she and her adopted siblings have studied the books in his library and learned some of the secrets of his power, and sometimes they've wondered if their cruel tutor might secretly be God. Now father is missing, perhaps even dead, and the library that holds his secrets stands unguarded, and with it control over all of creation. That sounds so bizarre, but also I'm just very intrigued, and my friend has highly recommended this one to me, so I'm excited for that. Then we have Daughters of the Lake by Wendy Webb. This one has such a stunning cover. So I think this has a bit of a timey-wimey element to it. It says, the ghosts of the past come calling in a spellbinding heartstopper from the Queen of Northern Gothic. After the end of her marriage, Kate has retreated to her parents' home on Lake Superior to pull herself together, only to discover the body of a murdered woman washed into the shallows. Tucked in the folds of the woman's curiously vintage gown is an infant, as cold and at peace as its mother. No one can identify the woman except for Kate. She's seen her before in her dreams. And then the last book that I really want to get to is Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. This one has been on my TBR for the longest time, and it is a sci-fi horror book. It's the first in a series. I think it has like fantasy elements in there too. All I know is that it's kind of set on a spaceship, which is similar to a haunted house but in space, which sounds like such a fantastic setting for a story. It sounds so unique and different to anything that I've read before. I know that there is necromancy in here, and it's also Suffolk, I believe. So yeah, this one sounds like a whole lot of fun, and I'm very excited to give it a go. So that brings me to the end of this tag video. I really hope that you enjoyed hearing my answers. I'd love to hear your answers. Please do let me know in the comment section down below what you would choose for all of these questions. And yeah, I hope you're having a fantastic day, whatever it is you are doing. Don't forget to like this video if you did like it, and do subscribe if you want to see some more from me if you haven't already. And I guess I'll see you next time with another video. Bye!